Hello, this is Manesh Patel from the EII Capital Group. Today is January 19th, 2010. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the currency markets, Forex market out there. Um, Sorry about the delay in producing these videos on a weekly basis, but I've been on vacation. So actually broadcasting live from India right now. Anyways, this is our normal disclaimer. This is for education use only. All charts are either in Thinkorswim, TradeStation, or freestockcharts.com. Okay, here are my contact details. You can follow us at Ichimoku Trading under Twitter and at www.eiicapital.com. You can register there for free and access all our free videos and so forth. We got a lot to cover, so let's go and begin. And let's go straight to the heat map. If you don't know what the heat map is, please go to the website and you can see it there. We're basically looking for a rating of 5 to 8 for being bullish and -5 to -8 -8 to be bearish, and we're looking at D0, which is the Ichimoku rating for the daily time frame, and W0 is the current Ichimoku rating for the weekly time frame. Okay, if you look at the Euro USD, basically it's slightly bullish on both the weekly and daily, but they're not high at all, so it's not trending at all. So basically telling it's consolidating. Same thing for pound. The weekly is in a slightly bullish sense, but if you look at the daily, it's now starting to get positive. So we could go look at the pound a little there. It looks like it may be starting to get starting a trend there and coming out of a consolidation pattern. Same thing for Australian USD, maybe coming out of its consolidation pattern. If you look at the Australia US CAD, excuse me, that's already trending to the bearish side. All these other currencies are pretty much just borderline there. We'll definitely look at this one. This one got weak. Euro Swissy was trending to the bearish side, but the daily is kind of, it looks like it pulled back a little because it was -5 last week. EuroCAD is bearish, trending. We'll go look at that one. Euro New Zealand is trending to the downside. So those are it. So let's go and look at some of these charts and some of the ones that we talked about, especially the ones that are bearish, and we'll go from there. Before we begin, we're going to start off with the Euro USD. If you look to the left, this is my daily time Ichimoku chart. If you look to my right, this is my weekly Ichimoku chart. Okay. As you can see, both of them are in the cloud right now. So both the daily and weekly are in the cloud for as far as the Euro USD is concerned. So that's indicating consolidation. There's really nothing there. Let's move on to the pound USD, because that started showing maybe a possibility of life where the weekly was trending. But the daily looked like it needed some more movement. If you look at the weekly, it's starting to move up. One thing of concern on the weekly rating here, this is why the weekly wasn't strong. It was 6. It's because the Chicago is in the cloud here, and also the Tinkins and Kijunsen are still inverted here. So that needs to flip back. So definitely need to pull back to flip the Tinkins and Kijunsen around. Also, if you look at the daily future cloud is here, is bearish still. So I think if we get one pullback here on the pound USD, this may have the possibility of setting up to go bullish, long-term trending up to the top side, at least to go retest some of the highs up here around 64.23 and so forth. So we need a pullback for this thing to start moving up, and we'll see what happens at that level. The pullback we're expecting for first level would be 58.19 to look at. Next level will be getting down here 57.31 and so forth. So those are levels we're going to look for. The next one that we looked at in the heat map was Australian USD. You could see on the weekly time frame is basically it is bullish trending, but it's entered a minor little consolidation pattern there, and you can see that from the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame here, the Tinkins and Kijunsen needs to basically invert here, but all it needs is a little push up to the upside, and that could possibly happen. So look for signs from the daily time for this thing to break out. Just got to be careful at levels here at 1.0185, and then also here at 1.0264. Reason why is if it stops here, it could form a head and shoulder pattern here, or it could form a double top here. So just be careful on this one because it's already trended for a long time. Let's see what else was there. Let's go back to the heat map. And okay, so if we're going back to the heat map, we saw that Euro New Zealand is also trending to the downside. US CAD was one, and then Euro CAD. So CAD seems to be strong compared to Euro and dollar. So let's go back to the charts here. Let's go look at Euro CAD. Sorry, I must have misread that. We'll have to come back to that one. We'll come back to that in just a sec. US CAD here. If you look at US CAD here, basically it is trending to the downside. You can see both from the daily and the weekly. And let's go back to the heat map. And if you come back here, Euro New Zealand was going to the downside too. So we'll go look at that one. Euro New Zealand. We'll pop that one up, and if you look at the New Zealand, that was trending to the downside too, as you could see on the weekly time frame. Here on the daily, you could see that it's between the Tinkinson and Cajunson, so it's basically in a pullback, but it's still trending to the downside. The only time it's not going to stop the trending is if it breaks the Cajunson here. Okay. Okay, the next one we're looking at the EuroCAD. Let's go back to a heat map. EuroCAD, if you looked here, it's got a rating here. If you zoom in on EuroCAD, last week was 5 and 5, so weekly still right on the borderline of starting to trend on the bearish side. And if you look here, it was -8, and then it went to -6. So it definitely looks like it's pulling back. And you could see here from the daily time frame that basically the Tinkinson Cajunson has weakened up. So let's go look here on this chart, and you could see that this here is still bearish here because it's still looking really good. But if you come over here to the daily time frame, you can see the Tinkinson Cajunson relationship price is above that, so that's weak, and that's why that's there. Okay, let's go look at a couple of other pairs. Australian, if you look at Australian CAD, you can see it was trending up here to the bullish side. And now it's basically pulled back and is stuck between the Tinkinson and Cajunson on the weekly, which pretty much destroyed on the daily. So you could see that there. Really, the best currency pair right now is US CAD, believe it or not. One last one we'll cover is the US yen. If you look at the US yen here, this looks like an opportunity here. This is bearish trending here. Looks like it may try to on a weekly time frame, trying to retest this low down here at least to 80, 93. But look at the daily. If you look at the daily, the Chicago's in the cloud, and also Tinkinson and Cajunson are not flipped over yet. So this definitely needs to pull back in order for this to sit there and go down. So we're going to wait for see on the daily to sit there and conform to a bearish trade. But right now, there's no signals at all for this one. Hope you enjoyed this week's video. Stay tuned for next week.